everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, this is going to be a very short video. It's just a follow-up to the last one I did on the thermistor problem I still have with my CR6. Now, in that video, I probably didn't explain the problem absolutely fully. Most of the video was shown how to fit a new thermistor. So I've left that on YouTube because it will be handy if somebody genuinely does need a new thermistor, which I thought my problem was, but even after fitting it, it didn't cure the problem. So I'm doing this shorter and concise one, just showing the problem in itself. Now, just to recap, the problem I have is that on my Creality CR6 SE, which I've had since it came out a couple of years, if the room is below about 13 degrees C, so not particularly cold, as soon as I turn the heater on, as soon as it asks the bed to heat up, I get a yellow screen of death. It's like a warning screen, like the blue screen of death in Windows, saying there's a thermistor fault. Now, it only happens when you're heating the bed up, so we know it's a bed fault. And as in my last video, I've gone through and I've stripped the bed down. I've checked every connection on the motherboard, on the bed itself, and I put a brand new genuine Creality thermistor on it, and it's still doing it. Now, if the room is warmer than say 13 degrees, I've been in here and it's totally reached temperature and that, I turn it on and it doesn't do that problem. When I turn it on, as you'll see shortly, when I turn it on in the cold room, even though it's 13 here on my weather station, 13 degrees in this room, the two temperatures shown for the hot end and the bed are 0 degrees. And you've got to literally heat the bed up. The hot end still works from registering 0, but the bed trips out this warning. Now, if I heat it up by either putting, as you'll say, a cup of tea, coffee, a hot drink or whatever, and waiting for it to get a bit of heat into that thermistor, it's fine. Or if I heat it up with a hairdryer, once I get it up to, say, like 9 degrees or so on that, and it's got to be about 9 degrees, I've tried soon, only at 6 degrees and it still shuts out, it's okay. Like I say, the hot end will start up from a display of 0. So as you'll see, they're showing 0 degrees when the room is at 13. So I thought, well, maybe when the machine is turned off, that they're not going to be connected or whatever and displaying a temperature. But that's not the case, because when you turn the machine on in a warm room at 22 degrees, they both show, both displays, hot end and bed, show 21 degrees. Pretty accurate to what the room it actually is. So they are measuring the temperature even with the machine turned off, but they're not calibrated properly or something, and it will not come on unless the room is above 13 or I get the bed to 13. Now, like I said, I'll show all that exactly happening in real time very shortly, but I did email Creality. I couldn't really go to. I've had this response from them. It doesn't tell me anything that I haven't already tried, but I can't keep sort of going on to them because I have installed the community firmware, and they're just going to say, well, you're not using our genuine Creality firmware. But so is it a fault on this community firmware? I've tried to find Sebastian Demand, I think his name is, the guy who created it, and it's fantastic firmware. Look back at my other videos from last year on installing the new firmware and everything. It's really great, loads and loads of features. But I haven't got his email address. I can't find it anywhere. I'm not on Twitter, so I can't tweet him or whatever. So I've no means of getting in touch to ask a question. I've asked this question on the CR6 Facebook forum, but not had any answers to it. So I have had a couple of comments down below. Thanks for that, guys. One suggests putting another thermistor on in parallel with it and seeing if that works. But I thought about doing it, but it's going to mean a total strip down of all the bed again. And even if it worked, it's not really solving the problem. And another guy said it happens to him as well. So and he suggested it is a fault in the firmware. So is there some way of me getting into and altering a calibration line or whatever in the firmware? This is what I'm wanting to know. But here's the letter from Creality. I'll just read it to you. I'll show it you on screen as I'm reading it. Please refer to I'll leave the spelling mistakes out. They give a link to their video there above, but as you see, it's if you watch it, it's not showing you anything I haven't tried. Please refer to the troubleshooting video first. The alarm is generally a thermistor error. First, check whether there is a protective cover on the heating block. Yes, there's a silicone cover. If not, and it's not the heater that's a problem, the heating block, it's the bed. If not, it will cause the temperature fluctuation to become larger. I'll skip this lot about the nozzle because we know it's not the nozzle. Number 3, the nozzle and hotbed are heated to 60 degrees Celsius respectively. Confirm which heating trigger the alarm. Well, it's the hotbed. If the nozzle is heated, blah, blah, blah. If the hotbed is heated separately, this prompt will be triggered. Now, I'm just adding this extra bit as a voice over because I just noticed this in editing. That line, if the hotbed is heated separately, this prompt will be triggered. Now that implies that if you just try to heat the hotbed, it's going to trigger this this prompt. Well, that's not the case, because you can heat the hotbed up, you can heat the hot end up in any order, and it shouldn't trigger warnings. It actually still does this yellow screen of death if you start a print from a cold room. So if you go straight to the machine, turn it on and select print, it goes into its warming the nozzle, warming the bed routine, and as soon as it starts trying to warm the bed, the yellow screen kicks in. So it's not that I'm just selecting heat the bed, because it does it, like I say, when it starts heating the bed when you select print an item. So I just thought I'd add that as an extra bit during this. Please check whether the hotbed hotline on the motherboard is loose. No, everything is tight. It is recommended to replug. Please provide feedback and a video. I've linked them to my Facebook video, and so they can see it all on there. And I've sent pictures of it happening. So yeah, like I said, I can't really chase it up too much because it is it's on community firmware, not theirs. So I'll show you exactly what I mean now. This is putting it on. First of all, we'll start with it working fine. This is at night, and it'll be fully explained in this part of the video. Okay, so if you have a look, the only relevant temperature on this display is the room temperature, and you've just seen it literally click up to 20 degrees. So we're 20 degrees in the man shed now. And if I go straight over to the printer and turn it on, you'll see here in the display the two temperatures here at the bottom. We've got the hot end showing at 16 and the bed at 15. And they're going up. I've not got any of the heaters on so far, so these should be like responding to what the actual room temperature in here is at the moment. And on the left, I'm just keeping it running. On the left, the hot end is showing it's at 16, 17, and the bed is showing 14, 15, which is about 5 degrees. The bed is showing like 5 degrees less than the actual room temperature in here. And that was turning on from cold. The machine wasn't on, so it just shows that the thermistors are detecting a room temperature even when the machine is turned off, and when you turn it on, they are displaying the temperature that they think the room is at. And like I said, the thermistor in the hot end thinks the room is at 18 at the moment. The one in the heated bed thinks it's at 14 or 15. So this is what I'm wondering, is there any way of calibrating these thermistors? And because it's at this temperature, if I now try and set the, if I set bed temperature, we know the fault is on the bed temperature. I'm not even going to try nozzle temperature, we know it's okay on that. I'm going to set the bed temperature at 60, click tick, and it is now heating up. You can see the bed temperature is heating up, no problem whatsoever in a warm room. Bed temperature is going up now, you see we're at 25, 26, but it started heating up in a warm room, no problem. So as you saw there, once the room is warm, no problem whatsoever. The room was at 20, as you saw, at 20 degrees, and yet the, what was it? The hot end thought it was 16, was showing 16 degrees. The bed was only showing 15. So 5 degrees out of whack for the bed. But it still did work. Even though the bed temperature thought it was 5 degrees different, I'm not bothered about that. The bed still did come on and didn't trip the yellow alarm. So, right, let's see it now. The following morning, coming into a cold, I say cold, it's not a particularly cold room. As I mentioned, I think it's about 13 degrees, which to my mind is quite mild, so there shouldn't be any problem. But let's see what temperatures are displayed on the hot end and the bed when the room is only at 13 degrees. Okay, here we are the following day, and if you have a look on the left there, the white reading, the shed is at 13 degrees now, so not particularly cold. I'll be putting the heater on shortly because it's not comfortable, but we're not talking freezing or anything. And if I go over to the printer and we turn it on and look at, and if you look, both the nozzle and the bed are both showing 0 degrees C. Now in a warm room they display temperature as you saw last night. Now if I take this off and I just put just even a hot cup of tea there, it should start registering heat. Because at the moment now, if we do set up temperature, bed temperature 60, see we're getting the thermistor error. So if we turn off, turn on again, and once we get this thermistor under here, a bit of temperature into it, it's alright. Okay, it's now a couple of minutes, about 3 minutes later, 2-3 minutes later. You can see the bed is showing, it's sort of flickering around between 6 and 4, 3, 5, 6, 7 sometimes degrees. So let's see if it'll show the fault again. Yep, thermistor error again. So we'll turn it off and on, let it get a bit warmer. So as you saw there, even in a 13 degree room, it displays that warning thing. So when I put my cup of tea on the top, you saw it registered the heat. It knew the heat was there, so the thermistor is working, it's registering heat. And as it got up to sort of like flickering at sort of like, was it 6 or 7, on and off, I thought there might be enough heat now to make it think it's okay, and it does it. But you could see it still triggered the alarm. So I left the mug of tea on it for a bit longer until it stabilised at 9 degrees, and it wasn't going up, wasn't going down, it was saying 9 degrees. Let's see what happens when we try and heat the bed once it's showing a stable 9 degrees. Okay, so it's now showing a steady 9 degrees C. Let's see if that will work. Yeah, that has stayed steady. So yeah, you can see now the bed is heating up with the bed heater. So once it was steady at 9, it was okay. But of course the room is at 9, as you see. The room is at 13 degrees. It feels very mild in here. This weather station is accurate. So that's what I don't know. Why is it registering 0 degrees when the room is at 13 and it only kicks in the bed heater above, say, a steady 9 shown on the display? So as you saw there, great. Once it was showing a steady reading, it worked fantastic. But like I said, that's what I want to know. Why does it show 0 degrees when the room is at sort of like 12 or 13? Why isn't it showing that temperature? Why does it only start showing a rising temperature and then steady when you've placed a hot drink over it? It seems to need some extra heat to kick it into action. So all the calibration is out. How do I alter this calibration? So as I've just shown in all them, when the room was at 20, they were both flickering around. What was it? I forgot it again. Hot end 16-ish, bed 15, but flickering around that 5 degrees out. Let's see what it's like now when the room is warmer. And again, I had it on it was turned off for hours on the last test, and it had been turned off for hours on this. But once the room has got to temperature, and it's sort of like a higher one than before, 20, you'll see now how much more accurate the two thermistors are. Okay, and once again, you'll see 22, it's early morning now. I just thought I'd film this before going to bed. It's 22 degrees in here now. I haven't had this printer turned on for hours, 7 or 8 hours or something like that maybe. And we'll turn it on now, and I bet the two temperature readings are pretty much what the room is at. So you see here at the bottom, 21 and 21. The bed and the hot end are both saying 21 and the room is at 22, so it just shows you that they are responding to temperature even when the machine is turned off. And of course, if we do the bed now, we know it won't display the yellow screen of death because we're in a warm room. And any second now you'll see the bed heating up. You see it's going up 25. Okay. So that's the stage we're at. It's still a total mystery to me why this is happening. Like I say, I've checked all the wiring, put a brand new thermistor on, still got the problem. So surely I can't be alone. I know, and like I say, thanks to the two guys who did comment on it. AI for suggesting wiring another AIC for another thermistor in line, and Nappy as well for suggesting it could be the software and he has had the problem. So like I said, sure, I can't be alone. There must be loads of others. I know people have these printer farms in their garages and things, so they must be subjected to lower temperatures than 13 degrees C. So yeah, I'm convinced it is something to do with the software, the firmware or whatever. So if anybody's got any suggestions on what I can alter to make it kick in, like I say, it's not the end of the world. I can just heat it up with a hairdryer, but it'd be much nicer during winter to just switch it on and no problems. And that's the only fault on it. It prints fantastic. I still love the printer. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully somebody can help. And if it is altering software, if you can go into detail, because I am absolute rubbish at typing anything in G-code and things like that. If it's something to do with that, if you can be dead specific and not just say, oh, just insert a line, because I won't be able to understand how to do that. You'll have to show me exactly what screen to do and all that. And if the problem helps, I will put another video and I'll give you big thanks and upload a solution video with thanks to whoever comes up with a solution. So we'll leave it there for now. Fingers crossed somebody can help. So my next two videos, I've seen in Lidl's next week there's going to be Vax spot cleaner, a little tiny sort of carpet shampoo, handheld one for like ideal for car seats and that. So I'm going to get that. And also I have sent off for, now this seems just too good to be true, so I'm not going to put a link to it below, and I'm not going to go into any great detail, but it is another printer that I've been, another 3D printer that I've been looking at, and it's got great reviews, and I've seen it on AliExpress for an unbelievable low price. I was umming and ahhing whether to get it at 250 quid. I've just bought one on AliExpress for 150 quid. If that is right and it comes and it's the right one and there's no problems with it, I will be absolutely amazed, and I will do a review and I'll put the link to it. Whether it's a mistake or what, or whether it's some sort of like scam, I don't know. But I bought it with my credit card, so if it is, I should be able to get a refund. But it's on AliExpress, and I know things can be a bit iffy on there, but I've had things from there before that have been fine. So that's going to be about 30 days before it arrives. So like I say, I won't tell you what printer it is, but it's got fantastic features, more so than even the CR6. And if it is the right one at the right price, it'll be the bargain of the century. So stay tuned for that. And next week, when hopefully they've got them in stock, this little tiny carpet shampoo. So, like I say, I usually end with saying, I hope this has been of some use to you. Well, it's not of any use to you. I'm hoping you will be of use to me in solving the problem. So, great. If that can happen, I will be overjoyed. So, I'll catch you for the next video very, very soon. Thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.